Smell some more? Characters and costumes. Thank you very much.
Lyra McKee wasn't only a journalist. Above all else, family meant everything. That family robbed of her light in the blink of an eye. During rioting here in the Creggan, Londonderry, back in April 2019, a child of peace killed on a night with echoes of our terrible past.
Please come up to me after this event and talk to me. I won't bite your head off, I won't call you a homophobe. We'll just have a conversation and I'll show you that I'm human, just like you. If you are...
A bullet fired from a dissident Republican's gun, ending Lyra's life. These men were on bail accused of Lyra's murder. Paul McIntyre, who's 59, 25-year-old Jordan Devine, and Peter Cavanagh, who's 38. Today, all three left court, free men, acquitted of murder. Questions now raised over how this circumstantial case got to court in the first place.
The evidence did not stand up to the level of scrutiny that she expected to take the case over the line, which means that that system has completely failed Lyra and has failed our family and has failed Northern Ireland, to be perfectly honest.
This new IRA gunman yet to be caught. The three charged with murder on the basis of joint enterprise. The claim they encouraged and assisted him to take a life and escape. But the judge was critical of the case against them, saying there was insufficient identification evidence. The public gallery was packed for this lengthy judgment, the culmination of a 2-year trial. On one side, friends and supporters of those in the dock. On the other, Lyra McKee's loved ones. The judge telling the court there is no greater show of strength than a lethal attack, adding Lyra McKee was murdered, but not by those charged. When all three were found not guilty, Lyra's former partner, clearly very emotional, walked out of court. Lyra's sister also left before the end of proceedings.
But I'll tell you what will not happen. That we will not go down with this. This is not over. Lyra said if you're going to go down fighting. And I can tell you right now that every one of my family will. Because we do this for Lyra. She deserves justice.
Lyra was watching the rioting unfold beside police lines in the Creggan on that fateful night. This CCTV footage capturing the 29-year-old holding up her mobile phone seconds before she was shot in the head. That show of strength, previously referred to by the judge, was for an MTV crew filming with presenter Reggie Yates, who was on the ground that day and evening. But they had pulled out before Lyra had been shot. A number of others stood trial for rioting, including high-profile Republican Paddy Gallagher. But all were cleared due to lack of evidence. One was convicted for the disorder that unfolded, while another was found guilty of assaulting a community worker.
Over 150 people witnessed this event on the 18th of April 2019. Not one of those 150 people came forward with evidence which could have supported the police case and the prosecution's case. That culture of silence needs to stop in Northern Ireland.
A 2-year trial which took its toll in this family. Their quest for justice continues. Sharon O'Neill, UTV Live.
And our Northwest correspondent Gareth Wilkinson is live in Derry for us now. Gareth.
Well, Sarah, you might just be able to make out Creggan on the brow of the hill behind me where Lyra was shot all those years ago, and the death of a young journalist on the streets of this city sent shockwaves right across the world. Lyra had only been in Derry for a short time, but she had made a big impression. She had a very close and tight-knit group of friends. They've been hoping for justice, and this evening will be devastated. Deep disappointment too, no doubt, amongst those many thousands of people who attended vigils in memory of Lyra. I've been taking a look at her legacy and the impact of her murder. Lyra McKee moved to Derry for love, to be with her fiancée Sarah, but was killed by the violence of hatred and division.
Lyra's death must not be in vain, because her life was a shining light in everyone else's life.
Derry tonight, absolute madness. The last words Lyra wrote, posted on social media as she watched rioting in Creggan unfold. Within moments she was shot dead. Father Joe Gormley was the local parish priest.
A bad memory of going into the resuscitation room that night was Lyra's face. You know, for such a violent death, her face was just so childlike and angelic.
Hello? Testing.
A life full of potential cut short.
I'm a freelance journalist from Northern Ireland.
Lyra had pursued her journalism dreams from a young age, named Sky News Young Journalist of the Year at 16.
Lyra was a very mature and thoughtful young person.
Councillor John Boyle was Mayor of Derry at the time of the shooting.
This dreadful murder was heinous in the extreme.
He's a former journalism lecturer who taught Lyra, and they remained friends.
She had a beautiful heart, beautiful soul, and so very, very compassionate.
This is the spot in Creggan where Lyra was shot. All these years later, there isn't a plaque or anything to mark that this is the place where she was murdered. But what happened here sent waves of shock and revulsion, not just across Northern Ireland, but further afield. In the days after, grief amongst Lyra's friends in Derry turned to defiance, protesting at the headquarters of Suru, widely regarded as the political wing of the new IRA. They said dissidents had blood on their hands.
People saw a glimpse of the past, and they said, this, we can't go back here.
Even in death, Lyra brought people together. Northern Ireland's divided politicians attended her funeral at a time when power sharing had collapsed.
Why, in God's name, does it take the death of a 29-year-old woman with her whole life in front of her?
Within months of this impassioned plea from the altar, Stormont was restored.
It really genuinely was something that became a turning point. Some of the political leadership began to understand again the importance of the promotion of peace and reconciliation.
She was killed in scenes reminiscent of our troubled past, but Lyra has become a symbol of a new, more inclusive Northern Ireland. And in the days following Lyra's murder, police officers searching for her killers began raids in this city. Within months, the first person charged had been brought before Bishop Street Courthouse here. So this prosecution dates way back to 2020. Huge resources have been poured into it, and as we heard earlier, huge question marks tonight surrounding what the PSNI and the PPS got wrong. How has there been a failure to secure a conviction for a murder that happened in front of hundreds upon hundreds of people? Now, this evening, the Deputy Director of Public Prosecutions has issued a statement. He described this as a very complex and challenging case. Michael Agnew insisted that the legal test for prosecution had been met and that there was a public interest in taking this case, but he acknowledged that there will be deep disappointment amongst Lyra's family and loved ones at all these acquittals. The PSNI, for their part, issued a very short statement. They said they will be taking their time to consider the implications and determine their next steps. You know, in the days leading up to this verdict, I spoke to Lyra's friends, less so traumatised by what happened to her, and they were nervous because they've sat through this trial for 2 years. They've listened to the evidence, and now their worst fears have come true. There has been no justice for Lyra. Her family, as we heard earlier, say they are determined to fight on, but after so many acquittals in a case that has lasted so long, it is very difficult this evening to see where Lyra's family and her friends go next.
Gareth Wilkinson, live in Derry. Thank you.